Hello everyone, welcome to RBei. So in this topic we are going through the main thing, that is the portfolio, and in this lecture we will understand why we are going to study the portfolio, means why I am not taking individually the stock A, the stock B and stock C, why every fund manager is evaluated based on the portfolio, not the based on the individual stock. So basically there is some theory, and because of those theory we always prefer to create a portfolio rather than investing your whole money into a single stock. And you will say the reason might be the diversification. Okay, yes, the reason is that we are having a diversification benefit. So now in this lecture we are going to understand in depth that how we are deriving that particular diversification benefit. So let's begin with our portfolio management, and it starts with the modern portfolio theory. Okay, just inside the heading of portfolio there is something, means this is the beginning of the portfolio, means without this theory you cannot assume the beginning of the portfolio. So this brings the portfolio in front of us, that is modern portfolio theory. Okay, so modern portfolio theory means what? You are creating the portfolio. Now how can you create the portfolio? It can include the different asset class. Okay, means in your portfolio you can include equities, you can include fixed income, as well as you can include alternative investment. Inside these equities we have different securities. Inside this fixed income we have different securities, and similarly in our alternative investment we have different funds to invest in. So now what will happen, out of, suppose we want to create the portfolio just only with the equity, means my portfolio is now concerned and it is structured only for equity. Okay, so inside the equities there are many companies such as Google, then we have Facebook, then we have Amazon. Okay, so means what? I am creating a portfolio with different securities and with different amount of weight. Might be this is invested with 50%, this is invested with 40%, and this is invested with 10%. And it not only 3, it can include 300. Okay, so means in terms of paper and pen, when we'll start this topic we are concerned only with the two topics. Why? To make our calculation easier. But yes, there are portfolio with 500 securities, so in that case it is way too difficult if you'll start calculating everything with respect to pen and paper. That time you need to use might be the Excel, the Python, the R in order to evaluate your portfolio. So with respect to the portfolio, what is the first task? The first task is the security analysis. Means if we have Google, I need to identify what is the return of Google and what is the risk of Google. Means every time I'll pick up any security, what I will do, I will find out its return as well as its risk. And how I am going to find it out? With the help of the past data available in the market with respect to that particular security. Clear? So now suppose I'll be having two securities. One is the Google, one we have is the Facebook. So rather than writing their full name in the whole lecture, I'll be using as G and F. Means I have these two securities and I want to construct the portfolio with the help of these securities. So what I will do, I'll find out the return of this security as well as the risk of the security. Similarly, the return and the risk of the security. Clear? What is return? nothing but the mean, the average return over the given period of time. What is the risk? Nothing but the standard deviation over the same period of time. So I'm not going to waste the time here to explain you that how we got the mean and how we got the standard deviation. Okay, but our intention, the concept was completely focused towards the portfolio. Okay, means how we are going to construct, how we are going to find our risk, return, everything with respect to the portfolio. Now if I being an investor, what I want to construct an optimum portfolio. Now what is the meaning of this optimum portfolio? Optimum portfolio means highest possible utility. What is the meaning of optimum portfolio? Highest possible utility. Now what is this highest possible utility? If I eat an apple, okay, I'll get some satisfaction. Means what? I use the word satisfaction. You must write it down with respect to utility. It is satisfaction. Means something which I cannot quantify, but something which I can feel. Okay, so means you cannot find out the point at which you can feel the maximum utility because it is not quantifiable, but yes, I can see it with respect to risk and return. Means what I really love, what satisfies me, what satisfies a normal rational investor, that he loves return and he hates the risk. This is the basic mentality of a rational investor. Clear? Now our utility is basically the factor of two variables. What are those factors? One is the return, next one is the risk. Now how they are going to impact the utility? So if I'll say like this, that utility is directly proportional to return. Means if I increase my return, my utility will increase, and inversely proportional to risk. If my risk will increase, my utility will decrease. If my risk will increase, my utility will decrease because I don't like the risk. Always remember that we always love the return and hate the risk. Clear? Okay. So till now we got just one point, and that point is to maximize expected utility. When I'm saying expected, okay, this word is taking me towards the future. Means if I'll do this, how much utility I'm going to derive. Okay, means I want to derive the maximum utility. Clear? Expected is used for our future. In future, I want to derive the maximum utility. Clear? Means something which can give me the maximum utility. Means my expected, this much is I am expecting at least in the future. Now whatever we will study in this topic is based on some assumptions, and these assumptions does not stand in real life, but we need to take the assumption. Now while creating any models, why we need assumptions? Actually these assumptions will simplify our calculation. Okay, simplification means what? If you will say that there is no transaction cost, then definitely whatever trade you will take, there will be no transaction cost. So means what? System don't have to do so much of hard work to first of all calculate the transaction cost on buy and then calculate the transaction cost on sell. So means what? The toughness for the model decreased. So first of all write down that why we make assumption, to make our calculation to make our calculation easier, we need some assumption. But these assumptions might not held true in the real life. So now what are those assumptions? I am dictating, please write it down. First one is that there is no taxes, and we know that we don't have such opportunity that we can trade without taxes. Definitely there are taxes, so means what? This is something which will not be true in the real life. Okay, so write down the first assumption, that is no taxes. While creating this theory, these are some assumptions. Okay, now second is the no transaction cost. While buying and selling, you don't have to pay any sort of transaction cost. Then there will be no restriction on selling, short selling basically. What is short selling? Even if you don't have the shares, you can sell it in the market. So there is no such restriction on you. Then the last one is the infinite divisible security. Now what is the meaning of this infinitely divisible security, which in practical it is not true? Means if there is one share of Google, this point want to say that even if you want, you can purchase 0.4 share of Google. But in real life, this is not possible. You have to buy the share either 1, 2, 3, but you cannot divide your one share into different parts. So these are our basic assumptions which we are using in our portfolio theory. Now, whenever you will see the concept of utility, you will find out the concept of indifference curve. Now, with this word only, indifference means between two things you cannot find out any difference. From the utilities perspective, you will feel that these two are same, means these two are going to derive me the same amount of utility. Clear? Suppose I will draw a small graph in front of you. This is my return. This is my risk. Clear? Now what is the indifference curve? Suppose this is my first indifference curve. I'll explain you, then only you will understand. Okay. Here I have created two portfolios. Portfolio A and portfolio B. Clear? Now, if you look at this portfolio from the utilities perspective, you can say that, sir, for me, the portfolio A and portfolio B are same. For me, the portfolio A and portfolio B are same. This is the indifference curve. Means what? It is on this curve. If you will create any portfolio, suppose here you are creating one portfolio, say D. So we will say that, sir, if I will buy A, if I will buy B, or if I will buy D, I am equally satisfied. Or if suppose there is one more portfolio E, then you will say, sir, if I will buy either of the one, I am equally satisfied. You can let me purchase any of the portfolio, I don't have any issues. Clear? Now, let us take the discussion ahead with two indifference curve. Here is portfolio A, here is portfolio B. Indifference curve 1, indifference curve 2. now you can differentiate which portfolio I want to buy. How? Sir, it's clearly simple in front of my eyes that in portfolio B, there is a risk of 4% but return of 5%. But in portfolio A, the risk of 4% but return of 8%. I am attracted towards the A. It is providing me the higher amount of return at the same amount of risk. Again, it is providing me higher amount of return at the same amount of risk. Sir, I am really passionate to purchase this portfolio. So means what? Higher the indifference curve, higher the utility. You must mention it that higher the indifference curve, higher the utility. You always want to purchase those portfolio which lie on the higher indifference curve. Clear? Now suppose there are 5 indifference curve. Which indifference curve you are going to purchase? Definitely you are going to purchase the indifference curve 5. Then you will ask, sir, there can be the many indifference curve. Then I am going to choose the toppest indifference curve. Okay, so let this question be in your mind. Let this question be in your mind. I'll be giving you the answer for this, that all the indifference curve are not available. Okay, which indifference curve is available and which you are going to choose is completely dependent upon the portfolio. Clear? So keep this question in mind. Sir, which indifference curve I am going to choose? Because if you say the higher the indifference curve, higher the utility, I am going to choose the indifference curve which is on the Mount Everest, because my return will be very high with the same amount of risk. Clear? So now keep the question in mind. Don't let the question to go away. Just do one thing. Just draw this graph. Okay, it will be good for you to revise it. Make it fast. Okay. Next, suppose A, B, C and D. We have 4 different portfolios, A, B, C and D. Here we have return, here we have risk. Suppose if I ask you which one you want to purchase between A and B, which one you want to purchase between A and B, you need to think. Okay, start thinking which one you want to purchase. So basically, if you look at A and B, what you will feel? You will feel happy with both of them. Why? A is giving you the lower amount of risk. You will be happy. B is giving you the higher amount of return. You will be happy. But you can invest only in one portfolio because you have limited amount of money. Are you getting my point? So means what? There is a trade-off between A and B as to in which portfolio you are going to park your money. Complete till now? Okay. Now just to make you little bit confused and to give you an hint. If there are 2 portfolios C and D, now you have to tell me in which portfolio you are going to invest your money. Just look at it and just try to think in which portfolio you are going to invest your money. Okay, hopefully if you have guessed it as C, you are correct, but if you have guessed D, it's wrong. Why? Because C is giving you higher return at lower amount of risk and D is giving you the lower return at the higher amount of risk. This will not suit you. What suits you the most? This will suits you the most. Now, the last question. If there are all the 4 opportunities available, A, B, C and D, Now tell me in which portfolio you are going to invest your money. Just think. See, first of all, we can invest only in one portfolio. So this one I will straight away remove. Clear? Now, there is a trade-off between A and B. Means I don't know in which portfolio should I invest. So can I compare my portfolio with any other portfolio available here? Yes, there is C. Now if you look at C and A, in which portfolio you want to invest? Definitely C, because at the same amount of risk, which one is giving me the higher return? C. Now what left? C and B. Now if you look at this part, okay, C is giving me this much of risk, B is giving me this much of risk at the same amount of return. So surely I am going with the C. Surely I am going with the portfolio C and I am going to invest my money in C. Clear? Now apart from this happened in the real life. Okay, and this I have just given you an example, but it will not hold true in real life. Okay, so we will never, in the coming future discussion, we will never discuss about C and D. Our focus will always be on A and B, because there is a trade-off as to which portfolio to buy. Because if there would have been C, I am going with the C, but in reality we don't have such C portfolio available. What we have is A and B. Clear? Okay. Just do one thing, make this graph and write down that there is a trade-off between A and B. There is trade-off between A and B because A is giving you the lower amount of risk and B is giving you the higher amount of return. A is giving you the lower amount of risk and B is giving you the higher amount of risk. So now it's completely the choice of the investor on which portfolio he or she want to invest. Clear? Now he can create the portfolio. Now we are going to start with the portfolio. Here we have risk, here we have return. Now suppose there are two securities, one is Google, one is Facebook. I am the investor. I am telling you that I want to invest my $10,000. Clear? Now you will find out, okay sir, there are two securities, one is Google, one is Facebook. Now the question is that you will ask me, sir, in which security you want to invest in? I will say, who make you the portfolio manager? Why are you asking me to invest my money in a single security? You must invest my money in the portfolio of Google and Facebook. Some of my money in Google, some of my money in Facebook. Now we will understand the concept, logic and reason behind of creating the portfolio rather than investing the whole money into the single security. Clear? Now, suppose you will look at this part, you will look at this part. This is giving me the return of 4%. This is giving me the return of 8%. This is giving me the risk of 5%. This is giving me the risk of 10%. So now there is one possibility. What's that possibility? I can invest 100% of my money in G. I can invest 100% of my money in G. Then what will happen? What will be my return and what will be my risk? In this scenario, my return will be 4%. My risk will be 5%. Clear? Are you getting my point? Or suppose you will be investing your 100% money into the F. Okay, 100% money into F. Then what will happen? Your return will be 8%. Your risk will be 10%. Are you getting point till now? Now what if I'll create a portfolio? Portfolio, how? What I am talking about, how to create the portfolio? 80% of G and 20% of Facebook, or it can be 70% of G, 30% of Facebook, 60% of G, 40% of Facebook, 50% of G, 50% of Facebook. Are you getting my point? Means what? We can create many portfolio with Google and Facebook shares with different amount of weights. Even it can be 75.5 weight will be given to Google. Then what is the amount of weight given to the Facebook? 24.5%. So means what? I can divide my money between Google and Facebook. Clear? Now I am the investor. I am telling you, invest my money in such a way that return will be higher, risk will be lower. What is my concern? That return should be higher and risk should be lower. And how that is possible? That is possible because of the correlation benefit. This is possible because of the correlation benefit. Means correlation is giving me some amount of benefit. Some amount of benefit in such a way that my return will increase from 4. My return will increase from 4, but my risk will decrease from 5. And how I am getting that? I am getting this benefit because of this correlation. Clear? So I am ending this lecture here and will continue ahead with the same thing. Means in the next lecture we will learn how to create a portfolio. This is our main task as to how to create a portfolio. I am the investor. Okay, you are my portfolio manager. You have to create my portfolio. So we will learn how to create a portfolio. Clear? So till now, whatever we have covered the utility, we have covered the indifference curve, we have covered the different portfolios and which portfolio to choose. There is a trade-off between A and B. Similarly, if you look at this, there is a trade-off between G and F as to in which portfolio you have to invest, how much to invest. There is a trade-off, and that's the task of the portfolio manager to think as to where to invest the money to get the highest possible return and the lowest possible risk. So till now we have just done the basics. In the next lecture we will take it ahead. We will learn a lot from that. Okay, thank you till now.